Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. So some of you may know that yesterday I went to the Winter Slot Car Market held at the Gaydon Motor Museum in the UK, and there I met some of you awesome viewers and had some really good conversations about my videos and how they'd inspired you to make additions to your cars and modifications. And that was really nice to hear that I'm making an impression on you where you got the confidence to sort of get a car that you didn't previously have the confidence and just rip it apart and change some things, and you're happy with the results. And that was really good. And I got some really positive feedback as well about the tyre truers that I sold, and it's really nice to see you using those and enjoying the product. So as you can see, I went a bit of a spending splurge and I've got quite a pile of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you on my bench and I'm going to show you what I got. So let's start at the beginning. In the foyer there was a really nice lady selling arts and crafts. Down on the floor was a nice big box of 1/24th scale minis. All these kits were part started in various states of repair or disrepair or incompletion. And I picked up these two bodies, although this car is mostly done, and all these parts here to complete it. This car is really only missing a wheel and a steering wheel, which is here. And this car is missing most of it. But in amongst all these parts, I gathered up enough parts to get this one finished as well. So eventually on the channel, I should be stripping both of these cars all the way back down to their basic bodies, sorting them all out, getting some chassis sorted out for them, repainting them into his and hers, one for me and one for my wife. And then we'll be blasting them around our newly built 1/24th scale slot car oval, which is yet to be built on the channel. So these are really cool. They were very inexpensive and I'm very appreciative. Also got a couple of water slides as well, so that'll be nice just to get these things finished off. So that was the first little purchase I made. Really good start. So next was to collect all my pre-orders from Pendle Slot. And one of the pre-orders I collected was this 17k Baby King motor to try and calm down my rally car. I'm told from good authority that putting a 17k in it will make it much more drivable. Also, I've got a medium spring tension suspension kit for the same car. It's a Porsche 997 NSR. And so now it'll have suspension, which will allegedly give it a little bit more compliance. Along with the motor, that should really help me tame the beast. I also got this. Now, obviously, we all know what it is, just a basic DS hand controller. This is a 35 ohm, and it's been much needed. Up till now, I've been using an old 60 ohm Palmer controller, which I've been using for years, and it's an extremely good controller, but I'm struggling with it now as it's getting on a little bit. Just in the front stage of it, it's just getting a bit gritty and it's getting a little bit unreliable, and it's given me launching problems where I sort of get to that sticky bit and then it suddenly goes and it's causing some issues. So I got a nice new one. I've used these a few times at the club to make sure that I like them, and I really do. They're super comfortable, super smooth, and all of you that have used them will know how good these are. This is the V3 version, obviously, because it's the newest one. Now, it comes with a lovely bit of silicone cable as well, which is very nice. Silicone cable is quite a bonus with regards to these controllers. You don't want to use anything else, really. But I'm going to do something a little bit special with this controller, because I was lucky enough to get the clear one. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this one, which will be featured on the channel in the coming weeks. I won't tell you what I'm going to do with it, but it'll be quite cool. So, that's that. I also collected this little pile of stuff. These Matus guide springs. Much lighter than the guide springs I have been using, so I'm hoping that that will just help with the wheeling off the line on some of the grippier tracks, just so that the tension of that spring doesn't tend to push the front up more than needs be. So that's those, again for rallying. I haven't got a Jägermeister paint scheme planned yet for any of my cars, but I do know eventually there will be one. So while these water slides are actually in stock, I grabbed them quick, because these things sell out quite quickly. Also, I got these. I'm going to put those there for a minute. I also got this decal set. Now, I don't actually have a chaparral. What I got it for is the roundels and the numbers and this little batch of extra little decals as well. You can't have enough roundels and numbers to go on different cars. It gives you lots of options. And obviously all these little tiny extra water slides are going to become very useful in builds to come. Again, I don't have a reason to use these just yet, but it's great to have them in stock. And if you see them in stock with Pendle, grab them quick, because stuff sells out very, very quickly. So, I also collected this. Now, this was bought because I enjoyed my GTA build so much, and it ran so incredibly well around Crow Valley. I could not resist it. I had to get another white kit from Revo Slot. And this is, as you can see, the McLaren. Absolutely stunning car. And I absolutely can't wait to build it on the channel very soon. And the paint livery that this one will be going in, well, there is a clue. I'll let you work it out. So, rummaging around Pendle Slot's stand, I found this, or really what I should say is I found these. There was a small box at the end of the stand that had a couple of 24th scale bodies and this chassis. They're all loose and jumbled up, and there was a price on the body but not on the chassis, and I didn't know what body this chassis fitted with, if it fitted with any of the bodies in the box. But anyway, I chose this body shell. I don't know what make it is, possibly Carrera. I think it could be a Carrera, but it's absolutely mint. The only sad thing is it's missing a rear wing, but it's not really sad because it gives me the opportunity to make a new wing out of some plastic card and carbon fibre and make a nice attractive wing. I had thought about making it out of brass, but if I bump the car with a brass wing, chances are it's going to bend and look a mess. So I think flexible plastic reinforced with some carbon fibre will work really, really well for that. But it's absolutely mint. This body has not got a single mark on it. And in the pile was this really awesome Scale Auto 1/24th scale metal chassis. Now these are really substantial chassis. I have no idea what they go like. No idea at all. I've never had one. But it seems like a really substantial piece to me. Fully adjustable, fully customizable. And with a little bit of tweaking on these 4 screws, which I have done in a preliminary fashion, I've got the wheelbase to fit this car more or less. Now the width isn't right. It's close, but it's not quite right. But that can be sorted, possibly with some wider axles. It will definitely need wider axles because they're just about inside the wheel. But I'm going to marry this chassis onto this body, sort out the rear wing, clean it all up, make it look really pretty, and that will be a great car for whapping round my new 3-lane oval that I shall be making on the channel very soon. And the reason I'm making a 3-lane oval is because I want to be able to run new 24th scale cars, or new to me 24th scale cars, and at the moment Crow Valley absolutely can't run 24th because it's just too narrow. So this is going to be a great car to go blasting around an oval track with. It's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So I need some new rear tyres, say longer axles, just clean it all up, new brakes probably, and just get it all sorted out. And I think that's going to be a really nice car. And this wasn't expensive. I'm very, very pleased with this one. It's super clean. So next I went to Phil Smith and I collected my pre-orders from about a month ago. And this beauty was one of them. This other beauty was the other one. And this beauty was another one. So let's have a look at these 1/24th scale cars to start with. Now I don't normally collect cars this old. My interest ranges from about the mid-60s to about the mid-90s. That's roughly where my car interest lies. There's a couple of outliers, but basically that's my era. So 1937 is well outside of my interest. And to be fair, I'm not massively a fan of the cars of this generation. But these were absolutely awesome. I could not leave them behind when I saw them were listed on his website. They were just so cool. They're just so different and so cool. I could not leave them there. I don't know if they're your cup of tea, but they really are very, very cool in my opinion. So that's what I call the cab forward version. And this is what I call the cab backwards version. So there it is. I just think they're so unique and so pretty. They're just really smart. And again, these are going to go around my 3-lane oval, side by side, period correct, as they would have been racing in the day. Just looking fantastic. They're basically brand new, if they're not actually brand new. They all run very, very nicely. I've tested them with a battery and they all run really, really well. So these could be subject to review in and of themselves if anybody's interested. So we'll get to those in due course. I then collected this other beautiful little car. Now, this is a bit of an anomaly, really. Back in the day when I started collecting fly cars, I had the first Corvette that they brought out. It's the black and silver one with the orange pipes in the back. I believe that was the first one they did, and I loved it. And I never had another Corvette since from the fly range, and I don't actually have a use for this car at all. But it was a very, very good price. It's brand spanking new. It's never been run, and it was so unbelievably pretty. I just couldn't not have it. I'm a bit of a sucker for Corvettes. If I was an American guy, I would definitely have a Corvette if I lived in America. But Corvettes in the UK are a little bit pointless, so there you are. But I have no plans for this car. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't really intend to upgrade it. I don't really intend to run it. Maybe it's just going to be a shelf queen, or perhaps it could end up being podded. I don't know. But maybe if I pod it, I'm going to lose all that detail, so maybe I won't. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It was just incredibly pretty, so I bought it. So once I collected my pre-orders, I went round Phil's stand and I looked at all of his second-hand cars. And he's got a fantastic range of cars. If you've never seen his stand before, it's amazing. He's got hundreds of cars, all in cardboard boxes, hundreds and hundreds, all different prices, all different qualities and types, from new to second-hand. And in amongst it was this awesome Pro Slot Porsche. Now, I've got a big soft spot for these cars. I absolutely love these Pro Slot Porsches. They're not particularly fast. They're not particularly good. I personally find them extremely nice to drive. They're very well balanced, and they're just a lovely little car to just chill around the track and enjoy. I really, really, really like these cars. The bodies, there's no detail on them to fall off. The detail that's on them is very nice. The paintwork is very nice. One-piece chassis apart from the pod, but the pod works very well. They're just great, solid, reliable, well-handling cars that just look great. I really, really, really like these, and I collect, every time I see one of these, I collect them. And just to prove that point, 20 odd years ago, I got this one, and I absolutely loved it. That's what set the ball rolling. And 20 years later, it's still with me. All my other vintage cars have gone. This one is the only car that remains from my original collection, and it's not ever going anywhere. So that was that one. That's what started the ball rolling. About 18 months ago, I went onto eBay and I managed to win this one for a sensible price. Now, I won't buy these cars if they're overpriced, because they're really not worth a lot of money. About £20, maybe 25 if you really want to push the boat out, but they're not worth more than that. So I won't pay more than that. And these days of silly prices, these can get silly money anyway, and they're not worth it. But £20 or thereabouts is what you should pay, and they're worth every penny. So I bought this on eBay, got it for £20. And it runs fantastically. It runs even better than this one. I was worried that this one was an outlier, but no, this is actually an underperforming car compared to this one. This one's even nicer to drive. It's absolutely superb. One of the wheels was knackered when I got it, but I fixed the wheel, and now it runs beautifully. And of course, now I have the third one to go in my collection. This one's quite nice actually, because it's got a slightly different wing. These two are identical. They have identical wings. But this one has a slightly different wing, which is really cool. As you can see, they are exactly the same. So, I now have 3 of them. I then went digging around this stand again, and I found this awesome little Toyota Corolla. Now, I really like these cars. They're a bit of a weird shape, and I like weird shaped cars. There's something about this car that I really like. Don't know what it is. I mean, it's a Skeletrix car, and it's got some problems. Namely, the wheels fall off. But, you know, whatever. But it was incredibly cheap. It was literally £6. So, what? $7. £6. It was nothing. It was no money at all. And I thought, well, with a wheel respray and some better tyres and a little bit of a clean up and repair the windscreen wiper, possibly a lightweight interior using the original drivers, not quite sure. But definitely with a hot motor and a motor pod in there, this could be quite a little weapon. I mean, not the best because it's very, very narrow, but it could be quite an interesting project on the channel. So, don't know what you guys think about that, but I quite like this car, and maybe turning it into a little pocket rocket could be quite fun. You have to let me know. And then I visited the Slot Car magazine stand. And this is a bit of a new thing for me in the world of slot cars, because I took out my advert. And I've never actually seen this particular advert in print. Now, I've been in magazines for many, many years with my other business with the model railways and model boats as well, and actually model helicopters as well. I've been in the magazines for that as well. But slot cars are a bit of a new thing for me with regards to advertising, and it was really nice to see my advert in the flesh, in the paper, because I'd only seen it on an email. So it was nice to actually acquire this magazine and see my very first slot car magazine advert in a magazine. So that was pretty cool. So there we are. So that was that. So back in the summer, when I went to the slot car show in Gaydon, I bought this car. Now this car was on the shelf alongside my now infamous Capri that I completely rebuilt. And they were sat side by side, and I ummed and ahed for ages about which one I should buy, because I didn't want to go mad and buy everything I saw. And I eventually bought this car. And then I went back later on in the day and bought the Capri as well. But there we are. But this car called out to me more than the Capri, and I plumped to buy this one. And I absolutely love it. And it's only a Skeletrix. Its performance is fairly low, but I just love, as I said, I love Corvettes. And this one called out to me, so much so that I chose it over the Capri. But whatever. So, this time now, yesterday, I went to a stand and I found this one. Now this one really called out to me as well, and you can clearly see why. So this one is a racing version of this one, and I thought they would look absolutely fantastic together, and I really couldn't resist. This was not too expensive at all, quite cheap, and I just had to have it. So there we are. So I picked up this beautiful Corvette as well in racing livery to go with my previous purchase back in the summer, and I think they look absolutely fantastic as a pair. They just look really, really smart in my opinion. I then went back to the Pendle slot stand, and Sean sorted me out with these awesome little alloy wheels of their smallest size and the correct rubber to go with them. Now these are going to be used on some more 1/43 scale conversions, and I just bought these 4 wheels and tyres just as a tester to see how I get on with them and what I need to do to the tyres to get them to fit and what cars they need to fit. Sean also pointed me to a very nice crown gear which will fit these wheels perfectly, so I don't have to use the Carrera gears. So these are another nice little project at some point for my 43rd scale. So if they work out well, I should be buying a lot more of these, but for the time being we got the 4. I can crack on and get some more conversions doing. And then possibly the most interesting item that I picked up yesterday is this Pendle Slot transit van. Now this is the standard transit van, the standard kit, and it's every bit as good as my Volvo resin kit. It's absolutely fantastic quality. Now this van is not all that it seems. Something's going to happen with this van, and it's going to be quite interesting, Sean and I think. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but that will be coming along very soon to make a really, really interesting video. So I'll move on. So I'm sure that many of you listen to the Talking Utter Slot podcast with Scott, and you may have also heard Scott say that he is having problems with his front wheels, or one of his front wheels, on one of his Team Slot Lancia Stratos. Basically, his wheel fell apart. Through age and through a little bit of use, it decided to just fall away and crumble to pieces. Now he is really having trouble replacing these wheels. The Team Slot haven't got any in, Pendle Slot haven't got any in, and he's hunted high and low on the forums and whatnot, and nobody's got a spare set of these wheels. They're just not made, they're not available, they're basically unobtainium. So I reached out to Scott during one of his podcasts, and I said to him, well, I can cast these up for you in resin and make you a fresh wheel. So he accepted that offer, and I'm happy to do it for him. So looking at it now, what I'm thinking actually is I'm going to glue these parts back into the hub, and then rather than making a resin version, which would require me to have to repaint the wheel and try and match the gold, and the originality of the car will be slightly lost with the resin castings, I'm going to actually glue these parts back into the hub, and then I'm going to turn up some aluminium tubes and slide the tubes over this boss, bond it all back together again tight, and then re-drill the hole, and then reinforce this one with the same alloy tube so that we can get these wheels and axles back onto Scott's car. So let's crack on with that right now, and let's hit the lathe and get these sorted out for Scott. Okay, so like I said, the plan is to glue all these pieces back onto this centre hub using thick sino, then machine up a metal tube and slide it over the whole thing and bond that into place with this really thin super glue, the pink sap, and that'll wick right down into all the cracks and bond it all nice and tight. Then I can drill out the hole again and make the axle fit the wheel nicely. Now on this wheel, don't have to glue anything back together again, but what I will do is make another metal tube to slide over this hub and bond that in place as well, just as a little bit of safety for the future. Now fortunately this bearing is a little bit smaller than the plastic hub, so I don't need to remove this wheel off this axle because it's a little bit stubborn and it doesn't want to come off, and I don't want to break this wheel unnecessarily. So this can stay in place, so I can just slide the tube straight over the top of it, wick a little bit of super glue between the tube and the plastic, and we're good to go on that. So let's crack on with that now. Let's get these pieces on here and turn up a tube and get this thing back together again. Okay, so that gets the non-broken wheel all sleeved up, so it preserves its strength for the future, and the broken wheel has had its sleeve all glued in nice and tight. So the next job now is to get this broken wheel back in the lathe, just trim this sleeve down to exactly the right height, and then drill out the hole again to take the axle, because that hole was filled up with super glue to make sure that it was fully solid. So let's get back on the lathe and get this trimmed up and drilled out. So there you have it, sleeved and drilled, and pop it on the axle, and it's a nice tight fit on the axle. So let's get the tyres on, get the whole thing back assembled in one piece. And there you have it, fully repaired. And I put little dots on this aluminium wheel here so that you know which one it is to pull off when you want to adjust it up. But that is job done. So there we are, all finished. So there you are. You've seen all the things that I bought through the day, and as a little bonus, I managed to fix Scott's wheels as well. So like I said to you, I really do enjoy it when you tap on my shoulder and when I have a chat with me at the shows. It really is nice to get that interaction, to see how my channel is actually affecting people out there and giving them the confidence to dig into their car and have a go at something that they wouldn't previously want to take on. And it's nice to know that I'm actually having an effect to you guys and helping you to push your modelling a little bit further than you were perhaps comfortable to do before you watch some of my videos. It's nice to see. So thank you very much for those of you that walked up to me and had a good old chat. It really is nice to get that feedback. So if you like this sort of content, maybe you'll subscribe, and if you hit the little bell button, that will be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.